I've wanted a P90 guitar since I first played a Gibson SG with P90s back somewhere around 2009. At the time, I had never seen anything like it. I had no idea what those pickups were, I'd never heard them before. I was just like, oh, this is interesting. So I picked up the guitar, albeit skeptically, I plugged it in, I played it, and I was like, yeah. That's the stuff. And here I am today, some 15, 16 years later, still thinking about that guitar. Now, if you watch this channel, you know I love Les Pauls. My Gibson Les Paul is my baby. So when I saw that there was an Epiphone Joe Bonamassa Les Paul with P90s in a pretty unique finish and including a case for under 900 bucks, I thought, okay, maybe this is my P90 guitar. And now, thanks to Sweetwater, I finally get to find out for myself. They were kind enough to send me this Epiphone Joe Bonamassa Les Paul, and I'm super stoked to check it out. So thank you so much again to Sweetwater for sponsoring today's video and for making a longtime gear dream come true. This is the tallest guitar box I've ever seen. So you know what's funny about that Gibson SG? I ended up getting a Gibson SG Standard instead of the P90 one because at the time I was just like, I don't know what these P90 things are. I can't do it. I gotta get something with humbuckers. And that guitar also had dot inlays, which for me at the time was just a no. All very dumb reasons to not get a guitar. But I've always thought in the back of my mind, I should have just got the one with P90s because I really love the way that sounded. And on top of it all, one of my favorite guitar players and biggest guitar influences is Drew Shirley from Switchfoot. And there was a period of time where he was using a lot of different P90 equipped guitars. And on top of that, it seems like the P90 equipped guitars have gotten pretty popular in the church and worship space. So it just seemed like no matter where I was, the P90 was always hovering around somewhere in the background and has always been something I was thinking like, okay, one day I gotta get one of those. I think this guitar is absolutely beautiful. It's in a copper iridescent finish, which is cool because depending on the angle or the lighting, it looks a little bit different. So sometimes it looks a little more brown, sometimes a little more black, and sometimes it even has a little bit of a reddish hue to it. It's very unique. I also really like the back of this guitar. My Gibson Les Paul has a solid black back, but this one you can actually see the wood. It's this nice, really rich brown tone. Another fun detail is the tuning pegs have a little bit of a swirl or almost marbling pattern to them. That paired with the cream P90s, cream pickguard, trapezoid inlays, so even me in 2009 could be happy. It definitely passes the look test, but now, we gotta find out how it sounds. First things first, we gotta try this thing out with an amp. So I'm gonna plug the Les Paul directly into my Marshall DSL1, no pedals in between. Let's see what kind of sounds we can get. That was pretty cool, and it definitely reminded me of those tones from the Gibson SG all those years ago. But as you know, I like playing with a lot of different effects, so I'm gonna run it through my Helix rig into the Quad Cortex for stereo amps, and we'll see what kind of tones we can get. this guitar rocks, and it definitely nails that P90 tone that's been stuck in my head for the last 15 years. What I really like about it is how versatile it is. You can get all those really big, rich, distorted sounds you associate with the Les Paul, and also clean it up and get that really pretty, clear, chimey stuff. And if you're a player like me, I think these P90s sound awesome with lots of different effects, distortion, delay, reverb, modulation, you name it. P90s really do feel like that perfect middle ground between a humbucker and a single coil. And I especially like how the low end, like the low strings, react with these P90s. There's something very spongy about the texture that I think is really, really cool. But now we gotta do what probably a lot of you have been wanting to do throughout this video, and that's compare this guitar to the Gibson Les Paul. We're gonna do this blind test, but I'm gonna tell you right up front that it's not gonna be very scientific, because these guitars are meant to sound pretty different. This guitar has P90 pickups, this guitar has Burstbucker Pros. The Gibson doesn't have a pick guard, the Epiphone does, so if I accidentally touch that, that's gonna give away what guitar is what. The neck profiles are a little bit different, and this guitar weighs a little less than this one. I think all of those things might tip me off before I've even played the guitar. The point of this is not to find out like, oh, does this guitar sound exactly like this one? Because it's not supposed to. The point of this is fun. So I'm gonna wear a blindfold. My wife's gonna hand me a guitar. I won't know which one it is, and I will only be allowed to play one chord. So we'll see if from that one chord it's enough to tip me off which guitar is which. I look like I'm in like the desert or something. Yeah. Oh. Hello. I think from the touch it's the Epiphone. Yeah, I'm thinking this is the Epiphone. It's really weird playing when you can't see. Where is it? Oh, okay. Should you give me the same guitar again? This feels like the same guitar. Yeah, this is the same guitar. This is the Epiphone, is it not? Okay, don't tell me it. Oh my gosh. Okay, I think I got it. Thank you. I've been playing this guitar for 17 years, I know it. This is my Les Paul, the Gibson. They're both Les Pauls. Oh gosh, well, that's all I get. I'm gonna stick with that. I'm gonna say that this is the Gibson. Wait. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with that. This is the Gibson. So how'd I do? Was it Epiphone, Gibson?
Yes.
Alright. The dead giveaway for me was the neck, because the neck on the Epiphone is sleeker. If I had played the G chord correctly, we probably would know how different the guitars actually sound. So why don't we do a blind test for you guys now, and I will actually play correct chords. That was actually a lot closer tonally than I thought it would be, but I think that has to do with the fact that I used a stacked overdrive sound. If I did something a little bit cleaner, those differences might have been more apparent, but you know, what's the fun in that? Okay, you got your guesses ready? A was the Gibson Les Paul and B was the Epiphone. It feels really cool to have a P90 guitar after wanting one for so many years. I've thought about that Gibson SG several times, been surrounded by players who have P90 guitars. I've even thought about modding my Gibson SG a bunch of different times to put P90s in it. So it's pretty cool that we finally arrived. And honestly, I think the Epiphone is probably a little better fit for me just because I love Les Pauls and the body style, the look. Like this guitar just feels like me, and it really does feel like I finally found my P90 guitar. If you want to learn more about this Epiphone Joe Bonamassa 1955 Les Paul Standard, I've got a link to it down in the description. Huge thank you again to Sweetwater for sponsoring today's video. If you've never shopped with Sweetwater before, they're an amazing company. They have excellent customer service, and the website has tons of cool gear info. It's definitely worth checking out. And it's a cool way you can help support this channel if that's something you're interested in. Otherwise, let me know if you've ever played a P90 guitar, or if you have a P90 guitar down in the comments. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll catch you next time.